Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Listen, there are a lot of things, a lot of techniques that have come around since makeup has been so popular on social media. Techniques that have been made up out of nowhere, techniques that are taken from different parts of makeup, mainly drag makeup, and spread around online. And a lot of techniques come from the need to have a viral moment, right? The need to have your content get a lot of attention. So I want to talk about one, two, three, four, five. So I want to show you 6 makeup techniques that I think are terrible, a waste of time, and I personally would never do them. So let's get into it. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. If you watch my videos often, just double check you're subscribed, because I do a thing where I watch people and I watch all their content because it's always recommended to me, but then I realize I'm not subscribed. So please double check if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Just let me know your opinions on techniques that you're like, why do people do this? Technique 1 that I really do not like. A lot of you probably heard me talk about this already. Listen, I love eye primer. A certain type of eye primers. All eye primers are different. If you have the need to set your eyeshadow primer with a powder, your eyeshadow primer is shit. I'm just gonna straight up say it. If your eye primer creases all the time, it's too hydrating on your lid, it's too slippery, it's not a good eye primer for you, right? Just like we have different skin types, a lot of our eyelids are different. I have extremely oily eyelids, so I use an eye primer that is extremely dry but creamy. So I use a Sigma eye primer. You all know I've used it so much. It's in that thing where it goes all shiny and all the writing's coming off. Perfect for me because my eyelids are extremely oily. It's dry, but it's not overly dry to a point where it makes my eyelids crusty. If you have dry eyelids, perhaps you have a flakier skin, then you go for one of those more slippery silicone-y eye primers, something like Urban Decay Eye Priming Potion. However, if your eye primer is creasing and you need to set it, that's not the purpose of an eye primer. Right? What do eye primers do? They create a barrier between the oil on your eyelids and your eye makeup. Eye makeup is powder. So if that oil is penetrating already and you're having to set it, once is fine, right? Apply your eye primer, leave it for like 2 minutes, right? Do your eyebrows or something. Then check if there's a crease. If there's a tiny crease, tap it out. If it creases after that, maybe it's time to invest in a new one, because it's not working for you. Another purpose of an eye primer is the way it grips to your eye products, eyeshadows, and the color payoff you get, right? Oh, this, by the way, this is why I've done like half a face, because I'm going to do the rest on camera. The color payoff you get from using an eye primer from your eyeshadows is incredible. You get the full color that you see in the palette on your eyes. If you're laying down a powder, it's kind of weakening that a little bit. It's not gripping to the primer, it's sitting on top of that layer of powder. You're completely diminishing the point of that eye primer. And this is why I don't use concealer, right? Because concealers on the lids, what do? Concealers have hydration in them or moisturizing ingredients. Eye primers don't, because we're trying to block that thing. Concealer, I always give the exception of concealer for people who have extremely dry eyelids, right? However, if you are being like, yeah, I just use concealer and I set it, no, because your face still gets, sorry, I'm cleaning my table as I'm talking. Your face still gets oily when you use concealer and powder, right? You still need to touch it up later on in the day. So what's the difference on the lid? Your oil is still gonna come through. The oil on our eyelids is powerful. It is grease, you know what I mean? Use a product that is made to block the thing. I saw an article recently, I put on my Instagram, where somebody said an eye primer is not necessary. And this was a makeup artist, and I wanted to literally peel off my skin. I was like, I can't believe you said that. Like, I get some eye primers, but I would not do a client's makeup, eye makeup, without an eye primer, because I can guarantee perfection throughout the day. Your mascara is not gonna smudge, your eye makeup isn't gonna go all creasy, it's gonna be perfect. Okay, let's come to our next technique. This one baffles me. Baking, you know I hate baking, but baking your eyeshadow, right? You may have seen me react to this in a reaction video. A lot of people, why am I screaming? A lot of people do this thing where they look at like old videos, and I'm talking 1910s, 1920s, 1930s, 40s, Max Factor's era, and they see the makeup artist using a lot of powder on the face, including the eyeshadow. What we need to remember back then, a lot of the products they were using on screen were thick, heavy, stage creams. grease paints. It needed the powder. The products weren't advanced as what we have now, so you needed to, it wasn't even baking, it was like pushing the powder into the product and then brushing it all off like mad. So recently, a lot of people have been baking their eyeshadow. I'm gonna do it even though I like despise the thought of it. Because, you know, I give them this, it makes the eyeshadow look a little bit more blended. So they've been going like super crazy, just tapping it absolutely everywhere. The only thing I don't like about this, well, not the only thing, one of the things I don't like about this is it gets away in your lashes, first of all. But also, like, if you're doing shimmers, if you're doing glitters, anything with a texture that isn't matte, you're kind of gonna like lessen that a little bit. So they leave it on like so, and then they dust it off after a little while, like you would think. Look, see, I fucking hate that now. I hate that. Look, this has gone all crusty and dry. Oh, I was gonna film another video, but I can't with this now. I'm gonna put some stuff on top. What a waste of time, and it's ruined that nice shimmery texture I had on the lid. Like, why are we adding these steps to our makeup routines that take up space, waste product, ruin our makeup? Just because we want like an attention-seeking moment on social media. It baffles me. It really does. Okay, number 3 is when people want more of a natural look, right? Which I totally understand. But they take their products like this. So they'll do a line of stuff, and I don't usually do this, but I'll do the nose there. And they basically put their product where they want it. That's not gonna blend into my face at all. I just realized what I did there. Oh, I need a sponge. Let me get a sponge really quick. So I'm just gonna remove some of this blush because that's gonna take like 20 years to blend in. Okay, and then they get their beauty blender and tap everything in. And the idea is it's meant to be like a quicker way of just putting everything in, tapping it, getting it all on your face. But what I don't like about this is, oh, I forgot to do concealer down with it, is that you're not really using the product mindfully where you need it, right? It might be easy to just draw lines of product down the side of your face after you have your concealer on. Like, I can kind of understand that, but we're not really being aware of our positioning. Like, I've just put that there and it looks terrible and it's uneven to the other side. We're also not getting a very easy application of the product that evens out our skin tone. I think people see concealer foundation as like this layer, I saw something the other day, a comment on someone's reel, now like, but isn't concealer meant to highlight? It's like, no, it's meant to conceal. It's in the name. But now my issue is, right, I may have like a subtly defined side of the cheek, but because I haven't put an even base down of concealer or foundation, I'm like patchy in areas. So I could like just keep blending and blending and blending. I have an uneven amount of redness on my nose, like in this area here. It would be so much easier just to put down a base layer of BB cream, your foundation, your concealer, and then you can do those lines if you really, really want to. But it's just, there's no application mindfulness where you're like, okay, I'm putting my blush here, I'm doing my bronzer here, even though it's actually not that deep. A lot of the time with things like blush as well, right, you need to be really careful depending on the shade you're using, and red lipstick, things that have a redness to them. If you have redness in your skin and you put a red down, and you haven't done an even base of whatever foundation, the redness is going to bring out the redness in your skin. So it's like, what's the point? You need to make sure that your skin is covered evenly, even if it's just a wash off product, you know, before you go and put anything else on. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't look bronzed. I don't look contoured. I just look like I have blended something into my face. I just look like you know what it looks like? It looks like I've been wearing my makeup for like good 8 hours. I look like end of the day. Even my eyeshadow now, where I've put on that powder, is made it patchy. Okay, so I put this on, what did I put on recently? Instagram. Oh, I'm just gonna make my nose a little bit darker on the sides because this is how people do it. And I said one of the techniques I really, really don't like that happens at the moment is when people bake, but they leave the white lines down the side of their nose, and people are like, I don't know what you mean. So this, I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean. So you know when we look back at pictures, right? And especially like of the 80s, and we're like, oh my God, this is 80s makeup. Everyone's wearing blue eyeshadow and now it doesn't look as nice as we thought it did back then. This is our version of that. So people will bake with their powder, and then they will do these lines down the side of their nose, right? Because they're baking the side of their nose. And you know what? People bake. I'm over it. I know people do it. If you're a makeup artist, please don't do it on people at their weddings. Right, so I'm just gonna leave it like this for a little bit. But what happens is they kind of leave this dusky, ashy hue of white or pink. It can be pink sometimes on their face. And by the way, when I wipe this off, my skin's gonna look really smooth, but it's not real. In real life, it's a camera trick. So they leave it like this. I'm just gonna let that settle. So there's actually a few other steps to this that involve like just covering this whole area in concealer and then not really blending it in, blending out the edges, but not necessarily the inside corner. And then baking on top of that, over contouring the nose and leaving like this really horrible ghostly thing. I actually think it's a very English thing to do. Okay, spidery under eyes, right? So I love mascara on the bottom lashes. I think it's a must do to add a bit of definition afterwards, a tiny bit, but I hate it when they look spidery. So they'll get like their mascara and people just kind of like rub their mascara along the bottom like this to try and get the most product that they can on their bottom lashes. And then they kind of end up looking like this. Let me get a bit closer. Where they're just kind of like spidery and clumpy, right? Whereas the best technique, same brush, isn't to use that. Maybe if you're in your rush you can, but just use like a normal mascara. Just gently zigzag, float above the lashes, and zigzag that mascara across. Now, I'm not saying you can't use loads of mascara, just use it in a nicer way. This is actually a little bit more than I would usually use, but just so you can see, they're defined lashes. These are clumpy. Some people prefer this look, which is fine, but close up, they look dusty and crusty, and throughout the day, they're gonna get crustier and dustier. Okay, let me show you this nose now. Okay, you might be looking at it thinking, what the fuck? I've never seen that. Find yourself some English content creators and look for this. Actually, it's usually like white. And look for this like shape they make where they like lighten it. I can't even do it because it's so awful. Okay, those are a few techniques I really do not like when it comes to makeup. Let me know your opinions down below. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.